Okay, so we stated we are going to do the WAN next, and if you notice, I've added a few things on the side, mainly just the addresses that are going in and or have gone in to the sides of these, so I can basically, I don't have to keep looking, and it's helpful. So to do that, you would click this guy, and then you could just click I am a node, but you get the point. And it helps to do this when you want to label things in your network, because it can get kind of busy and there's so many steps, you start losing where what network is what and how it all configures together, so keep that in mind. Okay, so we were going to tackle the WAN. I don't expect... This is just to show that we can get across. So basically what I wanted to cover is LAN to WAN to LAN, and I wanted to cover basic IP addressing for classful addressing. So I've given it classful, but I've also given it a classless right here as well. Classful being C. This is also C, but technically an A, so technically that's classless, I apologize, and that's classless. So it's a little mixture of everything. We could throw all, class C's at it and have 254 addresses possible, but it would just be easier to continue in the way that we're going. Just to give you a quick idea, you can pretty much work this address-wise as any way as you want to, but this is kind of an accurate way of doing it. For this, you're normally going to see these two private address types, something 10 and something 192.196, and then I always seem to see 209 for some reason, but that public can be anything, and you obviously have read that at this point. So I had to mess with this because there was an issue, and I realized I actually had it correct the entire time, but for some reason they won't allow you to ping a server, and that's what I was trying to ping, and nothing was coming up. But if we take a quick gander, we're going to go into enable. No, I don't want to do config. Okay, real quickly. To see any command for show, you only have to go into the enable. You don't go into config. So you may have seen me type in do show. That's to force a show when you're in the wrong mode. We also call enabled mode God mode, or user privilege mode, I believe, but we won't do that. We're going to do show IP route. Now, this is just so you kind of get used to what I had to do, but you can read all the wonderful routing. There you have local, connected, static, RIP, mobile, BGP, egrep, external, OSPF, internal area, all of these wonderful, wonderful things. And basically the only thing we're going to be messing with today, just to make this work, and so you solidly can see how the route works because it helps, instead of just using a routing protocol to throw it across, is going to be a static IP route. Okay, so it's going to say S next to it. So obviously the top one is what we're looking at, and you'll get into all this, but the way you have to put this in is a little tricky, and I don't want to get into it to confuse you, but just keep in mind that if we're on my router here and connected to 192.168.1.0, it knows, my router knows of that already because it has a port that's already assigned that. but it doesn't know about the 10.1.10 over here. So you have to actually tell it using a command for a static route, and that's what I had to do with both. And you have to point it in the direction. Basically, if you do want to see it real quickly, it's just config mode should be IP route. Then the route itself, which is, in this case, we're on my router, so we're going to put 10.1.1.0. Then we have to put the subnet mask 225.255.255.0. So, and then finally, you have to point it towards the address, this actual port, the address port. So in this case, if we scroll over real quick, thanks you, turns out to be 209.1.1.2. 209.1.1.2. And then in this case, that would be it. See, we would be done. We could put a metric, but that's to give it a value to go off of. The lower the metric, the more it's going to use it. So, you would do the exact same thing on the other side. You would simply just type IP route 192.168.1.0, 255.255.255.0, and then 209.1.1.1 is what we have for that interface. And that would point each of these in each other's direction and allow, now if we ping across real quickly, remember we're on my router, and across is .2, I forgot, it doesn't ping. That's the other thing, it doesn't ping in config mode, so you could do that and you see it's a success. Now let's go into a PC here and ping across. So ping 10.1.1.3, and it should work. It did work a minute ago, so there we go. It always misses the first one because I believe it's sending out a packet that won't come back. Again, it's been a minute, but it is going to miss the first one, and we can do this to the other side. But basically, that's the basics of how to build the networks on here, how to put IPs, host names, structure LANs and WANs to a point. We haven't done subnetting yet, but this is the basis of it. We went through some switches. We'll have to do VLANs soon. There'll be trunking involved, and different services like DNS, as well as the routing protocols, but that all comes in time. This is just basically, this is the basics of it, so you can actually use this now, and you should be able to somewhat use this program when doing labs or to make your own networks and get a handle on what's going on.